Welcome back, everyone. Episode 4 called Two Faces. It's a topic that I've been in thought about quite a lot recently, and it'll tie into the whole depression side of things. More importantly, that depression almost at stages force you to have two faces, that one face being depressed, and number two, to ensure that you are portraying that you actually are okay to other people, so you have those balances of those two faces. But over and above, people who suffer from depression have that kind of symptom. I certainly still see that in society today, where people are still continuing portraying to be this person that's socially acceptable in society when they're not really being their true self. And in turn, we spend far too much time on that personality or persona to convince people that you are better than what you're supposed to be. And I'm not saying that the people consciously do that. Sometimes they are, it's a subconscious decision to do that. But it's because society pushes us into these channels, as I call it, and forces us to become a specific person, to become acceptable, I suppose. Within a work environment or a friendship environment, or even in a family environment, we get pressures, of having to portray a particular person, and COVID's also made me think, a colleague of mine lost her dad to COVID, and she said she had to put on the brave face for the entire family, to be the strong one. And but I really feel for her, and I ask the question to myself, but when is it going to be your time where you have that moment to grieve and allow yourself to be vulnerable, to take the time. But yet people have this expectation, so you've got to carry this second face, to be the strong one in the family, and it's tough. I think COVID has made our ways of thinking, has changed our ways of thinking, rather, and I think people need to realize that this is the start, not of an evolution, but rather of a revolution. Evolution, to me, the difference between the two, in my opinion, evolution, happens over a period of time, whereas revolution is a radical change. And I think we are in a radical change. I think COVID has brought that upon ourselves, but yet people are still yearning, and this is what annoys me a lot, is they're still yearning to go back to normal. And I'm just saying, but is society ready to go back to normal? I don't think so. I think COVID has proven one thing, that through this revolutionary change in human behavior has forced us to make changes, not just within our work environment, our personal lives, our home environment, with our families. And yes, time will too pass where eventually COVID will hopefully be eradicated, but we don't know where that end date is. So people need to make the changes now, and not just become lethargic in terms of waiting for that end date, because life happens around you, and you often forget that because life happens around you and you're not focusing your energies on those specific times, you're going to lose contact with a lot of people. Before you know it, some people might pass away who were very dear to you, and you wished you just had that extra bit of time with them. That's why I say, take the time now and spend it with the people that you love, but with the original face, not the second face. Don't pose yourself to be something that you're not. Show people who you really are. I think people these days need honesty. We need people on our side who are reliable, and reliable people, for me, is those who wear their genuine face. And and that's why I say, being, you know, in a depressive state some of these days, it's difficult to wear that original mask. You kind of just want to allow yourself to be, smacked with makeup to portray this different person that you're actually a-okay. And it doesn't always happen that way. And I think that's a very keen, interesting insight for me that I've sort of seen over the last few weeks and months, that I don't want to portray myself to be anything other than what I want myself to be. And I hope people, friends, family, colleagues, whatever, are going to accept that, Garth, because that is me and who I want to portray myself as honestly as possible. And hopefully people don't see that as a negative, because as we get older, we do definitely adjust our personalities, and we do slightly change. Some people don't, some people do, but I think everybody has a shift in mannerisms and personalities as you get older. And yeah, I think everybody just needs to take stock and have a look at themselves in a mirror and think to themselves, what person am I portraying to everybody? Because that might not be the actual person I want to be portraying. And that is a massive thing to consider and think about it. Because you might be wearing, then again, more than one mask, not just two, but multiple masks that you don't realize. And is it doing yourself any good, i.e., because you exert a lot of energy towards that particular face and you don't spend enough time on yourself? And I think that's where I feel a lot of us as individuals are not spending the quality time on ourselves to have this sort of mental well-being that can carry us through the tough times that are currently in front of all of us. And just make sure that you understand who you are, and that you also need some time off, and ensure that the people around you can support you in that. And I think, with those little things in mind, I think we can start to wear one face rather than two faces on a daily basis. And in that way, people can really start to understand who you are. Because I think in the greater schemes of things, I think life is all one big lie. Whether we do it intentionally or unintentionally, sometimes we just want to prove a point and don't really understand how that is going to create consequence later on in life and bite you in the back. So it's a good thing to sit and ponder about this week. Let me know in the comments if you feel that you carry just one mask or two or multiple. How do you manage that in your life? Is it for specific reasons? It's good to understand people sometimes might need to have to wear different masks because situations present themselves differently. But yeah, I think just leave it on that. Hopefully you guys stay safe and well. Until next time.